Flowbiz, a estratégia para cada etapa do funil. Capte leads, entenda o comportamento do cliente, automatize e-mail e WhatsApp, analise e gere resultado. Flowbiz, automação que vende, CRM que fideliza.
The engine is starting up.
Hello and welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining this Email Marketing Summit session. I'm honored to be here with you and cannot wait to share with you what I think is the right way to do email marketing and all the things that we should be focusing on in 2025 and beyond. My name is Michael Leszczynski. I'm the head of content and SEO at GetResponse. I've been doing email marketing for close to 14 years, so it is quite a while since I started doing email marketing and working with our clients, working on email audits, running email campaigns. So it's a long tenure. And the topic of today's presentation, Beyond the Click, how smart automation builds lasting customer relationships, is something that I've been thinking about for the last several months. So let's start with this part, and the first part of this presentation, first part of this title, which is namely the clicks. So here's where we're at right now. I'm gonna be frank with you. Times aren't as easy as we wish they were. Getting clicks is getting harder, and here's what I mean by that. As you know, I'm focusing mostly on content and SEO. I've been doing this for the last several years. And in the past, the main goal that we had, and all the people that were doing content marketing, most of the time they were thinking of ranking in Google, especially in the B2B space. It was enough if you ranked in the top 10 results, you would get clicks, people would go to your website and eventually either sign up for your newsletter or convert for your product or your service. Unfortunately, for the last couple of years, ranking in top 10 isn't enough. Hasn't become enough because Google and other search engines started adding all the other elements into their SERPs, into the things that you see when you Google stuff, like the featured snippets, like the ads, the knowledge graph, and all those things are taking away the attention of the users that are in the search engines. They're taking away attention from your website. They're answering the questions directly in the search engines, so people no longer need to click away to your site. And on top of that, they've added AI overviews, so AI generated answers based on the content of your website or of other websites. They are automatically creating the answers for the user inside the search engines. And since they implemented them, we've seen a reduction of clicks going to our websites. And this is the case for most industries, which means ranking the top 10 results is no longer enough. We cannot expect that if we publish content and it's going to rank well, that is going to just get us clicks. Sometimes we might get a link, we might get a mention in the AI. However, that's rarely enough for us to get traffic. On top of that, there's a trend that we're seeing is that people are actively using AI agents, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and all the other tools, and even simply just interacting with AI mode. And there are already 20% of Americans that have become very actively using these tools, more than 10 times per month. As you can see from this chart from SparkToro, this group is growing. It might not be a super fast growth, but they're definitely there, and they're changing the way they're searching for the things. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to ditch Google or the search engines, because I don't think that's the case. They're still the dominant players there. But I think what that means is that the LLMs or the AI agents are gonna force Google to make even more changes to their search engine, making, for example, the AI mode the default experience. So when you're gonna go to Google, you'll be able to ask questions and modify your questions, keep adding elements, basically interacting with the search engine, rarely having the need to go to the website. So when these things are happening, brands are losing traffic, and we still obviously want people to visit our website. That's where the conversion happens. That's where people can sign up for the newsletter, sign up for our services, learn about us. So when that is happening, naturally the first answer is, hey, let's invest in ads. And because of that, because we have the limited amount of space where we can all advertise in, the cost per click is usually going up. So the search ads CPC year over year has increased by 12.88% according to the latest data, which is quite a bit. That means, all our ads, the search ads, which are quite expensive anyway, are becoming even more expensive. And this is happening in other places as well, in social media platforms too. And on Facebook, when it comes to the traffic objective, the average CPC has actually gone down slightly in the last year. However, the overall trend is that it's going up. And when it comes to the leads objective, it has gone up. And if you interact on social media, I am sure you know this as well. You've experienced this as well. All the major social media platforms are actually penalizing us for adding links to our sites, to our content. So whenever you publish something organically, whether it's a blog post, your new promo campaign, anything that you want to promote, it could be a webinar, for example, or this kind of event that we're all part of, all these posts that have links are going to have lower reach, because neither LinkedIn nor Facebook or any other platform wants people to actually move away from that platform to your website. So the only other way to get clicks other than being clever and creating engaging content on those social media platforms is to run ads. And naturally, that's going to mean that the ads will eventually get even more expensive, and they're becoming more expensive, and the ad spending is going to keep going up. So with that in mind, you might be thinking, okay, we're just gonna keep spending more money and that's gonna be enough. Well, there's an additional additional challenge that we all have to face with, is that even if something or someone clicks on your ad, it doesn't necessarily have to be a real person. And that's something that shocked me really when I first learned about this, is that now over 50%, so 51% of global internet traffic is actually bots. And this is something that struck me really hard, but unfortunately that's something that we can confirm too. That's something we experience too when we look at our own Looker Studio reports, when we are able to filter away the traffic that goes to our website, goes to our visits our content. We see in different markets there are different numbers. Sometimes it's 50%, sometimes 30%, sometimes 80%, depending on the market. But there's a lot of traffic coming from bots. Now, this doesn't only affect ads, this doesn't only affect direct traffic, it also affects emails. So earlier this year, we've introduced a bot detector tool. We've been testing it for several months ourselves, looking at email campaigns that we run to our audience. And unfortunately, for the last 3 months, when we look at the data, we've seen that 39.1% opens came from bots, and 36.5% clicks came from bots. That's a big number, something that I thought is not going to happen to emails. Of course, there were bots before visiting our sites, filling out our forms, so we added reCAPTCHA. We had all the other things, but there are bots that actually work in the mailbox providers or security tools that are looking at the content of our emails. They're opening those messages, rendering the messages, the images, clicking on those links to check if they're legit, if they're not leading to phishing sites. And I'm not saying that this is bad, but this is just impacting the metrics and what we can focus on when we run campaigns. Because before, we were all just looking at open rates and click-through rates, and that was enough for us. Some people were looking at conversion rates. Naturally, that's the right way to do it, or better way to do it, but that was enough, right? But all those things put together means that getting clicks is getting harder, and the clicks that we are getting, they might not necessarily be real. So if the data, the clicks are sometimes getting meaningless, what should we be focusing on instead? So what I think is the right answer here is focusing on building relationships. So focusing on building a better business, a better campaigns, better processes after we have actually gathered this audience. So not necessarily only focus on acquisition and keep spending more money on getting people to visit our website, to visit our content, to sign up to our webinars, all those things, because I know we're going to be optimizing for that anyway. But if that's becoming less reliable, why not focus on retention? Why not focus on relationships, on the audience that we already have, on the people that have interacted with us, that have signed up to our email lists, that bought products from us or services from us? It used to be so easy just to get more leads that we didn't care anymore about the unsubscribe rate or the bounce rate or the complaint rate, obviously up to a certain level. But because the leads, I don't like that phrase, but they were so cheap that you could have just kept on running new campaigns, and your list would keep growing. You don't have to worry so much. And with, for example, B2B, it was just easy to focus on organic content, on SEO content, because that traffic would have come to you anyway. And we could just keep spending more money on ads as well. So you would get those clicks, you would get that traffic onto your website. Now, I think what we should be focusing on is building relationships. We should be focusing on what happens after the click, after someone enters our ecosystem, becomes the brand, someone that's aware of our brand, someone that visits our website. So to do that, we need to focus on what's happening right now. We need to realize what's happening and how we can improve it. So one thing that I'm noticing, and what I think many customers are experiencing, no matter which brands they interact with, is that we're running campaigns as marketing teams with different KPIs, with different silos inside of them. We're running campaigns instead of just messaging people all together in a well-connected way. And here's what I mean. Sometimes we run a flash sale, sometimes we don't send anything because there's an event coming up, or because someone's away on vacation, because we don't have anything smart or new to say. Then there's a promo campaign, there's a newsletter. It's all scattered, it's not connected. Maybe sometimes it's connected to separate holidays, but when I talk to many customers, they usually struggle with having a sustainable, connected, well-designed campaign calendar, and basically the communication is scattered, the experience is fragmented, and people sometimes interact with the content, sometimes they don't. They may forget about the brand. And what happens when this is the way we run our campaigns is the experience might be that we're gonna see some conversions. We're gonna have spikes of traffic on our website. We're going to have spikes of purchases or order rates. But the better way to do it is to focus on actually consistent growth. So if our audience is growing and we're going to maintain that relationship with them, we're going to keep nudging them, keep getting back to them, we're going to see an increase in consistent growth and the number of activities and a number of interactions that happen around our brand. When talking about campaigns and fragmented experience, you also have to keep in mind the typical customer journey. So let's say someone visits your website, they buy something, then they might receive a promo. That promo might not be relevant to them because it's not connected with the product that they purchased or the category that they visited. They got 1 or 2 or 3 irrelevant emails and they disappear because they weren't acknowledged, they weren't noticed, and they weren't part of the conversation. It was just messaging at them, sending the messages at them, the things that we wanted to promote, the things that we wanted just to show and say to our audience. And when we do these things, we notice that unsubscribe rates increase, the spam complaints increase, and the disengagement increases. So fewer people are going to open your emails, click your emails. The mailbox providers are going to filter away that content to the spam folder for new people and for the existing audience. Altogether, that means lost sales. Now, before maybe it wasn't such a big issue because it was so easy to get clicks. Nowadays, we have to care much more about the clicks that we get, about the audience that we acquire, about the people that enter our ecosystem. So when we focus on clicks, we have these campaign-driven spikes, but when we focus on journeys, on optimizing the customer journey, long term, we're gonna see more growth, sustainable growth, something that we can actually foresee and expect to happen. So instead of, for example, when someone signs up to your email list today, they might get an email today or 10 days or 20 days, something that you cannot foresee, something that you cannot plan because it was campaign driven. What's going to happen is all those people are going to enter a flow or several flows or a list of flows that are going to be connected with where they're at in the customer journey. That's the way it should be. That's the way people should be experiencing our brands. So smart automation helps you move away from short bursts in conversions, in traffic, and activities to long-term loyalty. And this is important because as acquisition costs are increasing, we want to make sure that customers stay with us for longer. And also, we have to keep in mind that the economy isn't the greatest. The latest statistics show us that customers are trying to make every single dollar stretch. They want to make the best use of it. They are buying ahead of time, stocking up on all the essentials, buying in bulk and to save up some money. So that also means they are going to be very cautious about choosing the brands. They might not splurge on products or services that they would have in the past. Everything is working against the old approach. So you can't just take for granted that you're going to have an audience that's going to react to these short-term bursts, to these campaign-driven approach. You have to maintain this audience that's going to stick with you for longer. You want to optimize for that audience that's going to be coming back to you. So when people are setting up automations, they're often thinking about, it's going to just save time for me for the future. You don't have to send a manual email every now and then. But when you are devising automations, you should be also thinking about what it can do for the audience, not just for the marketer. And smart automations take into consideration other things. They are context aware. They include empathy. They include AI and customer-centric design. That means the communication is designed around the person, the challenge that they have, the situation they're in, the needs that they have right now. Uses AI to optimize certain timing, perhaps, or the content production, or the overall feel of the whole campaign. And it's centered around the customer, not just the saving of your time. Because in the past, that was the main motivation. We're going to set up automations because it's going to save us time. Now we should be thinking about the engagement it can generate for us and the long-term relationships it can help us build. And that's the way smart automations should be designed. So let's think of all the life cycle stages that we should be optimizing for. So let's have a look at the simple setup. We have people that entered our ecosystem. They signed up. That's the first part. But then we also have people that have signed up, but they never purchased. Or they have purchased, but maybe they didn't interact with more content from us. Or they did, but still, we shouldn't be just sending them another campaign, but we should be thinking about, okay, what other things that they should be getting from us to make the best out of this experience. Then we have conversions, how to actually optimize the number of people that will convert and become part of your customers. Optimizing post-purchase, so the people that have finally purchased, how they feel about the brand, how they feel about the product that they received or the service that they received. Then re-engagement, we have people, of course, that bought or didn't buy. Why not win them back? Why not keep them engaged? Why not keep them coming back for more? Whether it's if you're buying products that are purchased, let's say every 30 days or every 60 days, even every year. It could be a service. You could keep adding new things for them to actually feel closer to your brand, but also get more out of this relationship, so that they keep coming back for more. not focusing just on what happens before they come to your website, but all the things that are happening after they have become part of your audience. So there are several key ingredients of great automation stack. These are the things that I always think about when thinking about automations and setting them up. First of all is the triggers. You have to understand what types of triggers there are. The automations should be set up on behavior. So for example, clicks, views, abundance, based on all the activities that people could do on your website, whether they're already a subscriber or not, and how they interact with different parts of your website, different parts of your store, or the overall setup that you have. The great automations also keep in mind the timing. The send time optimization should be in place. So it could be based on their behavior, it could be based on their time zone, it could be based on what you think is the right life cycle time. So for example, if you're sending products, if someone bought a product that that should be repurchased after a month, maybe your automation should keep that in mind and in 20 days send a recommendation. So timing is of importance here, and you can also use AI here to help you optimize that timing. The next part of a great automation setup is the content. The content should also keep in mind the audience that you're sending to. So not necessarily just the things that you want to say yourself, you want to talk about in your brand, but it should include personalized recommendations, dynamic content, dynamic blogs, based on what you know that is going to work best with your audience. And also channel mix. So great automation isn't just set up with emails. It can be using SMS, pushes, landing pages. Multi-channel approach is the right way to think of it. And feedback loop. So you have to look at the engagement rates that you have in your flows. So the scoring, tagging, list hygiene, all those things have to be in place to create smart automations and to create automations that deliver the value for your audience, but also for your brand. So this kind of scenario, what it does look like. Here's an example of an automation series of workflows that you could create, or series of automations that you could create. And it's a typical scenario, especially if you're running an online business, running an online store. So the first part is when someone lands on your website. What you could automate here is, for example, when someone visits the site, you check if they're a subscriber or not. And if they're not, just show them a pop-up with a great offer, ideally something that is relevant and is connected with the page that they're visiting, and it has the right incentive so that these people will want to sign up for your list. Could be a discount, could be a guide, could be materials that they can use later on, could be a free consultation. Think about the context of the site and the motivations that people have when they're engaging with your content. So that's the first part. After that, let's say that they signed up to your email list. They joined that, they downloaded the lead magnet. These people could be getting, for example, a free email nurturing sequence. Typically, I don't see that happen, and it's a sad moment, because most brands, they just send a welcome email at most, and that's it. But in my opinion, whenever someone just signed up, they're like the most engaged audience, and at the most engaged moment in their entire experience with your brand. So take the time to send a few emails, few messages, to explain what your brand is about, what's your story. Give them a discount code, for example, if that was the lead magnet, the incentive that you've given them. Take the time to explain who you are and why you're appreciative of the fact that they joined your list. So the second part is optimizing that flow after someone signs up. After these free emails, you've nurtured them, you can see if they have converted or not. Maybe that discount code worked, maybe the social proof that you shared with them, maybe some additional reasons, an explanation about your story about your brand, manage to convince them to convert. So if they have converted, you move them away to a different cycle, different automation. In the meantime, if they visited your website, you could simply send them a recommendation email with dynamic content, with dynamic blogs and products, or you could show them a targeted pop-up that's very relevant with that specific page based on their interest. It could be, for example, a category that they visited. It could be a specific product. It could be the bestsellers. It could be anything on your website that you think is of value, that is visited quite frequently. You could have a targeted communication here, targeted pop-up or targeted email related to that specific page. Afterward, when they do convert, you can onboard them with a series of messages, so the post-purchase communication, and 30 days later, for example, you could ask them for a review. It's that simple. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just simply ask them. I wouldn't say it's good to ask for the review earlier, unless the product was delivered right away and the audience was able to experience that product right away. I would say give them 30 days, 45 days perhaps, and ask them for the review. And that's going to help you also get more people to visit your site. You're going to have content to put on your site to make your message more compelling. You're going to be able to take that content into your social media and in email communication as well. So that's going to help you actually attract more people, like the people that have signed up. So you'll be able to you'll be able to attract more customers long term. So definitely recommend getting those reviews and motivating people to leave a review. Potentially you'll have to give them a discount, or maybe ask them to refer people to come back to your product. It could be, for example, a two-way situation, so that you would give them a discount, but also the other person that they would refer would get a discount as well. And the next thing that you could do is, for example, 45 days after they've purchased, or 45 days after they left a review, probably that might be a bit too late. You would send them another message with a cross-sell or an upsell with a personalized offer. So if they bought a belt, perhaps they will need the shoes that match it. If they bought a suit, maybe they'll need a leather jacket. If they've got some kind of outfit, maybe a bag would help out with that. So depending on the product that you have or services that you have. So if you're an agency owner and you sold SEO services, why not offer them link building services or AI tracking services or content production services? Anything like that could help out as well. Depending on the product that you have, think about what could actually make it useful and valuable for the customer. And the next part could be, and something that you should automate for sure, is cart abandonment. So whenever you have these people already on your list, they're visiting your site, adding the product to the cart but not finishing the purchase, just automate that part of the communication. Send them a few messages, reminders that they've left something behind, that the product might not be available later on because they go out quickly, and potentially give them additional reasons, those recommendations, these reviews I talked about just a second ago, and potentially at some point a discount or free shipping, so that these people will finally convert and you'll be able to move them away to the other automation. And if you have people that are in your email communication, they're already on your list, but you're, for example, not running any email promos right now, or basically you want to add an additional channel, that's the good moment to also automate with an automated prompt the invitation to join your web push notifications or your SMS notifications. This way you'll be able to contact them across different touch points, across different areas, not necessarily just an email, which also helps you become more diverse. Your marketing becomes more flexible, and you don't have to be just dependent upon one single channel, which may not necessarily work at that specific time, at specific moment. Because, for example, we're not always checking emails as often, right? When I'm on vacation, for example, I'm not taking my laptop with me, so I might not be getting the web push notifications, but then again, I will have my mobile phone with me, so a mobile push notification could have worked, or an email would have worked, or an SMS would have worked. So that's why it makes sense to just diversify your marketing channels, and you could automate that all part of as one system. So when recommending that you do these automations, that you set up these smart automations, I want you to think about one thing specifically, is that it's not just about sending more messages, but sending better. I'm the last person to say that you should send more messages. Of course, no one wants to have their email inbox or other inboxes flooded. So you have to think about the empathy part, right? I mentioned this before. Empathy, timing, context, all those things are very important together. So always think about the best practices. Respect the preferences of your users, adapt the frequency to frequency that they can tolerate, check the engagement levels, and build a logic to skip some messages or tag your users based on their engagement. If they haven't engaged in a while, or they're on vacation, or in this, and you know simply that they're not as active, then maybe it's time to move them to a less engaged audience, or to an audience that doesn't receive as many messages. Always think about, would I want to receive this message, whether it is relevant to this audience or not. So smart automation helps you move away from these campaign bursts, and it helps you build lasting relationships. So always think about the behavior that you're visiting, that you're seeing on the website. Make sure to personalize the journey, not just only the message. Optimize every stage, and not just the sign up, not the very first part or the acquisition part. Use automation to earn trust and build those relationships and loyalty, and use lead scoring to prioritize leads, to know which audience you should be in touch with first. When devising these smart automations, you have to think about the metrics that we're all focusing on. I told you before, the open rate might not be the best metric to look at. So open rates, I would say they're out. When it comes to clicks, they're questionable. I still believe that clicks are important, and when I'm measuring our own email campaigns, our all automations, life cycles, I also think about clicks, but that's not enough in my opinion. So think about your business, think about what's really important to your situation. These could be other metrics like the journey completion, how many people managed to go through your onboarding process, post-purchase communication. Look at how many people actually repeat the purchase. So look at the first-time buyers. Let's say that's 20% of your audience, and then 80% of the audience is repeat buyers. Probably is the other way around, but that's what I want us to happen, is to have as many people that are repeat buyers, because that's going to actually pay off that higher cost per acquisition. That's going to help you create those better relationships with your audience, and that's going to offset all the issues that we have with the clicks are becoming less reliable and ad campaigns becoming more expensive. Another thing that you could be measuring is time to first action. So how long does it take for these people actually to make the purchase or other conversion that you think is important? And think about the CLV of people that go through your automation, and you'll notice that the smart automations are going to actually generate better results for you, long-term engagement, long-term loyalty, as opposed to campaigns that are just based on these bursts of or spikes of conversions that we see on our websites. So keep in mind, it's not just about sending more, it's actually about sending better. So don't send more, just send better, but also measure better, right? Measure on the real outcomes your automations generate, not just noise. So to put it all together, here's the key takeaways I want you to go back to your office, to your homes with. So stop optimizing for opens and clicks. Start measuring outcomes. That's super important, because simply the data is no longer as reliable as it used to be, but also because that's not really what's important for the audience. Think about in journeys, not just campaigns. So try to move away from these short-term bursts, especially if you have larger teams. You have different KPIs, different things that you want to promote. Try to create a consistent experience for your audience and not a fragmented experience. automate with empathy, not just efficiency. So don't always think about, whether we can pay off that additional unsubscribe rate or the complaint rate with our conversions. Think about the audience, whether they actually would want to receive that communication, whether it would be helpful. And the user behavior should be the thing that is guiding your timing, your message, the personalization, the content, and overall whether you need these automations or not, and focus on value beyond the sale. So as I said, the bigger part of your budget should be moving towards the loyalty, should be moving towards building the engagement and retention of your audience. So if you need help with any of that, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to GetResponse, visit our website. We help out brands of different kinds, e-commerce businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, with email marketing automation, but also SMS, web pushes, webinars, and courses. So all the different things, you can do all of them inside one single platform. We have a free trial, we have a free onboarding for every paid user as well. You can book a demo, reach out to me as well. And once again, thanks all for joining this Email Marketing Summit session. My name is Michael Leszczyński. I'm the head of content and SEO at GetResponse. You can reach out to me at my email address, mleszczyński@getresponse.com, or just simply find me on LinkedIn. My name is Leszczyński Michał, and it was a pleasure to be here with you. I was very honored to be able to join you for this session. I hope you learned quite a few new things, or at least the way I think about email marketing and how it should be done in the future in 2025 and beyond. So once again, thanks. Don't be afraid to reach out. I'm happy to always interact with the audience, with folks like yourselves who like email marketing, who find value in email marketing. So be sure to reach out to me on LinkedIn.